and gentlemen, welcome to the 25-8 podcast. Tyler Sutton, what's up?
We're live, baby.
Cap, my man. We got a very special guest with us today. It took her a couple times to actually book her down and get her out here.
Very
God
VIP.
damn, she canceled a couple times, but now she's on the podcast.
That's such a lie.
So yeah, thank you for being on. We got Lo Enriquez, ladies and gentlemen. I love this girl. But,
Lo.
yeah,
Hey,
Lo.
thank you.
Our
Thank you
girl.
for
She
having
drove
me.
down a long time just to be hanging out with us right now, and
course.
happy to have you on the podcast. So how you
Yeah.
doing? How you feeling?
Good.
Chilling?
I'm excited
Yeah?
to talk to you guys.
Take you away
Dive
from your
into
busy
it.
schedule a little bit.
I know.
Yeah?
Thank you for blessing
Nice
us
little
with some
break.
time. Appreciate
Get
you.
to have a
Sure.
drink with us and
Yes.
get outside of your work zone a little
I know.
bit.
It's
Yeah?
nice. It's really nice.
That's good, girl. Well, yeah, welcome on to the 25-8. We're out here in Orange County shooting up with the boys, but yeah, wanted to just talk to you about your crazy journey and career and like everything you're doing. Like you're the shit. I'm gonna say that. You know what I mean? Like, bro, straight up.
I gloat her every
Right?
chance I get.
Yeah,
oh
dog,
my
like,
gosh.
she honestly is a hustler. She's been doing this for a while now, and she's done a couple different things in different aspects of the music game, marketing, stuff like that. But yeah, fuck. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
it's hard. It's
Smooth.
hard.
Such a
Start us off.
loaded
Start us off.
question.
I know it's hard to like zone her in on one, right?
Give a
I know.
snippet of the beginning, and then we'll roll right into
Okay,
everything
cool.
else.
Yeah, and I think as I go, just stop me if there's questions. But so yeah, I think I've been in music for the past probably like 4 or 5 years. Started my company doing a lot of like content, photo,
Capiche.
video, capiche, exactly.
Oh yeah.
Photo, video, design, and it kind of has branched into doing more marketing, brand partnerships, and more recently, like realizing that I'm kind of helping just artists develop. So
In
Yeah.
what way?
helping artists with their image,
Yeah.
helping with their branding, like who are you, what is your message,
Yeah.
how are you different from the people that you are
absolutely.
next to, playlisting wise or whatever. So
How are you portraying yourself? A
exactly.
little bit, right?
And
Yeah.
I think I did a UCLA extension program on marketing. So
Sick.
that was one of the things that like when I did that, I applied it. I was like, how can you apply this to music? How can you apply traditional marketing practices? The ways that these big companies are, just templatizing things and making things
Right,
make
right.
sense. How can you apply it to music? So that's one of the things that I've been like just trying to wrap my head around the past couple of years.
Honing into it.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's been great. It's been I feel like I've helped a lot of independent artists specifically just really understand their brand, really understand, where they're going, and have these templates that
What's up, Q Dog? Oh, he wants to chill a little bit. Sorry,
We got Q in the
Q
house.
This is Q Dog.
he walked over like so like,
Yes,
am I
number
good? But just helping artists just like know what they bring to the table, how they're different, all of that kind of stuff. So
That's dope.
it's been cool.
That's crazy.
But yeah, I mean, I think that I've lived a couple lives so far. I was in sneakers. I did hair. And
You even did the podcast game for a
I
little bit
did
too.
podcasting for
I
a
feel
little
like
bit.
Did all of it.
All of that stuff kind of comes into the same thing, though. They're
Totally.
so correlated. It's
It's
Kind of
crazy.
just message
Yeah.
together.
it
No,
kind of
100%.
it's different aspects of essentially the same culture.
Right. And I think that that's something that was really fire to kind of like maneuvering. Like I went to hair school, and this was when I like straight out of high school, like went to cosmetology school and got my license, and got into like the best salon, like the top salon
Right,
that everyone
right.
wanted to be at.
You gonna drop that name?
No, I mean, she didn't gotta drop it, but it's about putting the image. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
No.
helping.
I mean,
yeah.
and you would have never know it, but it was called Salon Sessions. So it was like they would come to the school and like teach people.
Recruit?
No, they would like teach people, and
Okay.
we would be like, "Oh my gosh, like we want to be like them. Like, oh, I want to be like you when we
Yeah.
grow up." So, I got into a salon and like really quickly realized that like it wasn't
Your thing.
For
my
you?
thing.
Yeah.
And that's fucking terrifying.
It
Like
is.
that
Yeah,
is
that
a
shit
really
sucks.
that's a scary moment. That's something that's like you're not prepared for. And I had to like tell my parents like, hey dad.
Why was it so
like-
Yeah.
scary? Why was it so scary?
I think because like and it's, you know, just our society. It's like you are expected to know what you want to do.
Career change.
Right out of high school.
Right. Yeah.
You're expected to just, you know, have all these just plans for the next 50 years of your life. And like, I obviously like tried it and I hated it. And I was like, okay, how, like, what do I want to do? Why was I even drawn to this? And I think in its entirety, I was drawn to the branding side of it, how you, like, someone sat in your chair and you were essentially like building a new brand, a new like
Or
person,
image,
Yeah.
right?
a new image, like all of that. So that I did that and like ended up interning at a marketing agency that I ended up getting hired at later, and just learned so much. Like that period of my life was a lot of just like learning. That's the time that I was at UCLA, really like understanding what marketing is. And then from there, what was after that? Sneakers was after that. So I worked at Mag Park. As,
Shout out to Mad Park. Yeah.
But how did you
Shout out
get
to
into
Mickey
all
and
of
Mac
that?
Yeah,
Along the way, like connections, people plugging you and getting you on
Okay,
game.
okay.
Like take us a little bit through that.
So
like you didn't just graduate from high
Right.
school
I know.
and get
It's-
into school and then like end up at Mag Park.
Like you
know what
met
I mean?
this
Like,
person who
yeah,
led
like-
you to this, and
okay. So at the salon, at Salon Sessions, when I was kind of moving more into the marketing world of being at a salon, I was just like, let me start shooting. Like, let me pick up a camera. Like, I think my mom has a camera, like
Videos or photos?
photos.
Got it.
Photos was like my first thing.
so you had an itch for it.
That's right.
Yeah,
bro.
and I was
She
like-
did
I
the
was like,
photography stuff,
Yeah. So I was like, I think my mom has a camera. Like, I'll like borrow it and just figure out like, you know, what this is. My best friend at the time, Jordan, was trying to be a model and like kind of getting more into it. So we would go just like shoot at the salon and we were like, oh, this is fun. Like these are coming out really cool.
Heck yeah.
So from there, like we started like we would drive from Rancho to LA like at least a couple times a week.
Damn.
Just
Crazy.
to shoot. Like,
Yeah,
and we would do
yeah,
it like in the middle of
crazy.
the night, like at 2 a.m. Like we
Lifestyle stuff? Like,
just lifestyle stuff.
Just
Yeah.
for fun. Yeah.
And I think from there we started to understand like, oh, this is something that people like they could use this if you're a streetwear brand or if you are a, you know, whatever like brand would come about. So we started kind of like we were doing this and like going to work in the like after. So we would do like, you know, 2 to whenever, drive back
Go to work at 5.
and go to work. Yeah, I
tired,
had
just
to
thinking
be
about
there.
it.
Yeah, exactly.
5 shots of espresso.
Exactly. That was a really fun time though, because it was a lot of like, I felt like something was coming. Like I felt that momentum that like I was building upon something.
Right.
And that's like always such an incredible feeling. So we were doing all of that, and then eventually like me, Jordan, and one of our other friends started this like streetwear brand that we didn't do too much with it, but ended up doing like an agenda situation.
Okay.
And
Speak a little on the agenda a little bit. What is that? Yeah.
agenda is like a
It's a trade show?
trade show,
Right,
yeah,
yeah,
like
yeah,
a
yeah.
streetwear trade show. It's kind of like Complex Con, in the same vein of just like, you know, highlighting up and coming brands
Brands.
and stuff like that.
Dope.
So did agenda, and from there
Is it in Long Beach?
yeah,
Yeah, right. Okay,
Mhm.
yeah.
Complex Con and Agenda, I believe, are both at Long Beach. But
Shout out to
Um,
Long Beach.
shout out to Long Beach. Long Beach is. So from there, it's actually really funny because that's where I met Mickey from Mag Park,
Yeah.
and that's where I was telling him like I'm getting into shooting, like let me know if you ever need anything, because I didn't really know like where I wanted to be within all of this.
Yeah.
I was just kind of letting God take me, you know, wherever He wanted to take me. So ended up meeting Mickey, and then got hired to do kind of like content, and worked at Mag Park for a couple years doing.
Who's Mickey?
Mickey is the owner of Mag Park.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. So I was hired eventually as his executive assistant. So I was helping him just open different Mag Parks like around this area. We opened one in Las Vegas. We opened the OC one.
How many are there now?
I think there's like 3 now.
Okay.
I remember them
Yeah,
being
He
three.
kind of downsized,
Yeah.
but yeah.
He had a lot more to begin with, and kind of just.
And
Those-
it downsized.
the original
yeah.
one was in Burbank?
Yes. Yep. So helped him open those, and then ended up going to a competing shoe store. They told me that I was going to be doing marketing.
For them?
Yeah, I was.
What's the joke right here? I know you look at Brandon.
The competing shoe store.
You know
I
the
know,
competing
I
shoe store?
know.
I may or may not.
But he knows the culture, and like that was a huge learning lesson. Like I wish I would have never like left, but it definitely catapulted me into music, so I'm thankful for that. But it was one of those things like when you're young and you just like make stupid decisions and like do stupid things for a bigger bag that like
Why
didn't
do you
end
call it
up.
stupid then?
Because it was dumb. It wasn't a good situation.
It was
for me.
financial more than
It was financial more than
That's
like than sticking with something that
Future.
helped build. But
longevity, financial over longevity is
exactly.
what you're saying. Gotcha.
So
I
ended
mean,
up.
you're trying to figure out yourself. So why is that I don't necessarily see that a bad thing if like you've done your job with where you're at now and you see a better opportunity for yourself, like, and you're not crossing bridges or working for both at the same time.
For
like,
sure.
You know what I mean? Like,
For sure.
what's wrong with that, bro?
I
think
think
maybe it was because you went to work with a competing store. That's probably why you
exactly.
felt kind of that.
Exactly.
It's not necessarily a betrayal per se, but you did choose to go get money somewhere.
She chose to chase it back, bro.
Right.
She's figuring out her
That's
fucking
fair,
self.
but
Yeah,
I think that's probably why
Yeah.
she said she chose money over
Exactly.
that.
No,
And
I
that's
respect it.
it's kind of this like
It's also it's respectable too.
it's the culture of it too. Like when you're attached to a store for so long, people know you as Lo from
Part of-
Mag Park.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things that like it was a good opportunity for me, but it was also, it was a difficult decision because I had worked with this company for X amount of years, like really helping and, learning from Mickey and, doing all this stuff. So, but that's why I say it was a huge learning lesson for me because I was offered like this marketing position and it was like aligned with exactly what I wanted to move into.
Hell yeah.
And it ended up going horribly wrong. Like,
I guess we
And
know
that's
why.
why I
Yeah.
say-
You said this was a good thing, and then you said it ended up horribly wrong.
It was
gotta take
a
the good with
great
the bad,
thing.
though,
I'm trying to
right?
It was a
understand.
great
Exactly.
thing.
Hindsight's
Viewers,
20/20.
I'm lost right there with you right now. I don't know where this is going, but
It was a good thing because
You took a chance, it didn't work out.
exactly.
That
That's
happens.
exactly what it was.
Learn
And
from experience.
For sure.
exactly. And after this situation, and it was one of those things that like, so and so that managed the store hired me and and everything was fine, but then the owners of the company don't really understand branding, marketing, creative. So when you are working with people that are more business minded, numbers, ROI driven,
Yep.
they are not going to understand
Exactly.
what
images,
you bring. Exactly.
marketing, presentation,
Right.
things like that.
Yeah.
It's really more difficult, especially in the business model of consignment and sneakers. Like it's something that's like you can't show. People are going to come in and buy this anyways. So the creative and the branding is like a long-term play more than just like
Exactly.
right now.
Yes.
So they let me go. I was devastated. I
Oh,
was like,
man.
this is like, what am I going to do? Like that's never happened to me before. I'm so upset. And after that, I was like, I don't ever want to work for anyone ever again.
That's
Like,
good. No, that's good. That's a good feeling to have.
It was.
You
It
know,
was
when your
good.
back's against the wall a little bit.
That's that silver lining that
Exactly.
people talk about.
Yep.
Exactly. And that's where like my company was born. Like after all of that, I took literally the last of my money and bought the camera that I have now, my 5D Mark IV. And I was like, I'm done. Like I don't want to work for anybody. I want to be like
Independent
contracted.
contractor, yeah.
Exactly. And I want to figure it out myself and bought my camera and from there started just like going heavy I worked with a reggae record label. This is when Def Jam came into the picture,
Right.
so started shooting a lot for Def Jam. Charlene, who's the VP of marketing over there, me and her
Great
have-
content at Def Jam, by the way. Great
Thank
shit.
you. My biggest contact at Def Jam is the VP of marketing, and she just will be like, "Hey, I need like." Went back in this time, she was like, "Can you design? Like, can you do this?" So I was really like learning on the fly,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm now like her go-to for all her clients.
That's
like
crazy. But
I'm-
how'd you meet her? Get connected with her?
So I met her at a music video that I was like just helping produce. One of my friends, he was the director for this one,
Okay.
and he was signed to Def Jam, and he was like, I don't have any money to pay you, but you can come, like you'll get a production
Experience.
credit.
Yeah,
Exactly.
fuck yeah.
So this was when I was like still at I might have still been at Soul State. Oh no, I might have still been at. I don't want to say the name of that.
It's okay. You don't have to.
Somewhere else.
Yeah.
I might have still been like working in shoes. But this was the first time I was involved in music, and I like completely fell in love with it. I was like, from there I was like, I know I want to be in music. I know that this is like where God is taking me.
Yeah. It calls on you.
Totally. It and it's crazy how just like fast it's happened too. Like it has flown by so quick, and has just developed and snowballed in insane ways that I couldn't ever like. I sit and I'm just like so thankful that God has like done all
Like
of
how did
this.
this happen?
How did this even happen?
Yeah, the progression in the
Totally.
last 24 months has been unbelievable.
Insane.
I worked close to you on one project that you helped me on.
Yeah.
So then since then till like now, I'm just watching in the cut like
it's such a
cheerleading on the side.
Oh,
You know?
I appreciate you. It's such a blessing. It's such a like it's such a crazy just industry, and like things just move really quickly a lot of the time. So
Well, because it's ever changing, man. Like I feel like
Right.
there's something new popping up every single day.
Right.
Literally.
So if you're not with it, you get lost. You know what I'm saying? So that's good for you that you're
Yeah.
always like on top of it and like moving with the changes.
Right,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
Like,
I think now that I like doing content and really like understanding visually what artists need, artist labels, moving into, you know, design, and then now marketing, brand partnerships, I'm just more aware of like what is needed within the industry, what, you know, I can offer to an independent artist, but then also offer to OVO.
So before we dive into the OVO stuff, elaborate a little bit on the Def Jam experience, because I know, you know, that's some of my favorite stuff that you did. So
Oh, yeah.
can you please
No, absolutely.
bro,
Give us
she
a
was
little-
on Jeezy projects. I was like, God,
Jeezy,
bro,
Snoop,
I'm over
Ye.
boom, banging the old shit. Like, hell yeah. Yeah, hell yeah.
No, that was really dope. So yeah, like I said earlier, I met Jackie from Def Jam on a music video shoot, and then from there she connected me with Charlene, who's the VP of marketing. She was like, hey, like there's this big project, like we might need you to shoot something, and just like connected me. And little did I know that it was like, this was the verses, the DMX Snoop Dogg
The Snoop
verses.
Hell yeah.
Fire.
And I was like,
This is the best one.
Bro, I saw her fucking Instagram
I was
story.
so
She was
geeked
in the,
watching
she was in
that
the
shit.
DJ, I mean the fucking booth with Snoop Dogg. I was like, damn,
I know,
that's
I
dope
was
as
like,
fuck,
what the
bro.
fuck is this?
In the stew with fucking Snoop, bro. Uncle Snoop.
Crazy.
Legends. Rest in peace.
Crazy.
X. Rest in peace. X.
Peace. So yeah, it was one of those things. I was documenting them being here. I was documenting them, you know, Wah and the whole just like Rough Rider
Rollout?
gang.
Did the rollout like BTS of everything
So
that
I
was
did,
going on?
yeah, I did a lot
Fire.
of, for that specific project, I did a lot of BTS. Just like a lot of documentation.
Just shooting?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Shooting,
Yeah,
like
okay.
photo, video, just being around and like, and being a fly on the wall. And obviously that turned into just like, me and Charlene have been, I mean, she's been such a blessing in my life. Like she's the one, because we, you know, we work so well together. She's from a time where, you know, she knows how to work with creative. She like knows exactly. She's like, okay, we need this. And then I'll send her options and she'll be like, don't like that one. Really like that one. Can we change the font on that? She just knows, like we
What
we
they're
work
looking for a little
so
bit,
well.
yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Got a good rapport with each other.
Such a good rapport. She's told me recently, she's like, you are like, if the Def Jam creative team is inundated, like you are my person.
That's dope.
So I'm like, you know,
Yeah. That's
That's
Hearing
got to be a good
that-
feeling.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
so,
It's crazy.
So my question is, how'd you go from the shooting to actual like producing things for them, like the images, like the album stuff, the fucking stuff they promote on like the flyers,
like
and things
rollouts
like,
and stuff like that. So that, I mean, and that's the thing is like it's a slow build with labels and music.
They gotta
just in
trust you,
general.
right? Yeah.
100%.
Right, yeah.
And
It's a lot of trust.
it's a lot of trust, and it's a lot of like, they need to know that they can put you in a room and you're not going to upset anybody. You're not going to be weird, taking pictures, asking
Yeah.
for, you know, autographs or like just, you know,
industry
all these,
shit.
all these, yeah, totally. And it's unfortunate, but there's a lot of creatives that that have done that or, do those kind of things. So
I mean, fuck, you're in a room with like some fucking moguls, you know what I'm saying? So it's hard to not be like,
I
let me
mean,
take a picture.
That's kind of like, that's that kind of discretion you have to develop because
Exactly.
people get like 1 out of 10 people make it. The other 9 get dropped for doing some silly shit.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's
too much fanboy shit, huh?
Exactly.
because you're sitting in a room with like legitimate
Legends,
like icons.
yeah.
They're whatever's above a legend is like they're icons.
Mm-hmm.
They're the trailblazers, the tastemakers, the fucking the Mount Rushmore of hip hop.
Yeah,
You're
they create the road
in front of them, and I can imagine being in a place like that. If you're not well balanced and know how to control yourself, you could probably act up and drop the
Totally.
ball.
Well, and today, like with social media and shit, it's like now everyone's trying to kind of put themselves on in a way.
Yeah.
So when you're a real one, kind of like you, where hey, I don't need no pictures, I don't need no autographs. I'm just present. I'm enjoying the moment, and I'm doing my work at the same time.
Absolutely.
You
They
gain
fuck
their
with that.
you gain their
Yeah, for
respect
sure.
too, and the confidence in it.
100%.
So you being able to hold your composure and execute the way that you have probably opened up 10 more doors for you to be able to be in those same scenes. If they ever need anything, know that they'll be like, oh, yo, Lo's good.
100%. And I've even had conversations with Charlene, like recently. I shot my favorite artist of all time. I shot Lil Wayne.
Oh yeah, no way.
Wheezy ass,
Hey, yeah.
baby.
And it'll be dropping soon. So
Hell yeah.
That's your favorite artist?
That's my favorite
That's
artist
mine
of all time. I was like, and I told she's like,
Fanboy alert.
she told me, and I was like, Charlene, I just want you to know, like, that's my absolute favorite artist. She was like, oh, really? Like, that's funny.
That's
And it's funny because
sick.
I've worked on Kanye with her. I've worked on Jeezy. I've worked on Snoop. Like, I've worked on all these big things, and she's like, really? Like, oh, that's good to know. Like, that's
Fuck
cool.
yeah, that's dope.
But it was one of those things that like I could comfortably share that with her, and she knew that I wasn't gonna like be all weird like.
Right.
And it's also just it's one of those things within just yourself that you're like, I wouldn't ever do that because that's just not the type of person that I am. I really I understand what I'm there for, and I understand that these are people too that have a job to do and
might inspire you to just do your best shit, period,
Exactly.
because it's your favorite artist.
Absolutely, exactly. So yeah, I think that's a big part of it, and I think her trusting me and really understanding that I am there for a job and
Of course,
and we'll get things
Professional.
done, very professional, but then also like I'll think outside the box on things, and I think now we're like moving. I'm like, Charlene, like let's do some rollout stuff, like let's do different things. So we're building this relationship with each other that I know I can bring new ideas to her and just be
And
be a bigger thing.
how'd you get that knowledge? Because I mean, your past was more of like photography, image building, and how'd you get into the whole like maybe Photoshop and rollouts and doing more of the kind of visual work? You know what I mean? Because it's all visual, but it's still a different aspect of the game.
Right,
You know what I mean?
totally.
Like, how'd you learn that, or who taught you that, or did you have like some mentors that helped you with that, or
YouTube
It was,
University.
yeah, exactly.
YouTube
It
game,
was
yeah.
it was a lot
that's
of
what
just,
we fucking do?
I
Yeah,
know. It's crazy how much you can learn online now. But I mean that was my biggest just like place of inspiration and just learning what this meant, because I also, as much as I love shooting and creating content and all of that, I know I have good ideas for rollouts and just marketing and telling stories and that it took a lot of research as to, and that's why what I say like with going to UCLA for an extension program, like I took a lot of those practices that I learned there and am applying it to music. And it's not something that like there's no books on this.
Right,
there isn't anything like I've searched like there isn't music
There's a
marketing
lot of
books.
trial and error.
It's a lot of
The
trial and error.
experience is far more. I mean, it's
That's
stuff
your
that
school.
you're just not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
totally.
The experience is
There's some shit that school can't teach you, bro. You learn that shit from being fucking in the
Present,
moment,
yeah.
Right.
doing those types of things, and just like you said, trial and error,
Exactly.
and, like, figuring it out. You know
Exactly.
what I mean?
And I think even the project that you and I worked on, like my comprehension of what a
No, it's completely different
rollout-
from what you were accustomed to, too.
Totally, yeah.
was way
like,
different.
like genre wise.
Yeah,
for
genre-wise.
sure. I was like, what does this mean?
Yeah, we had to send her the lyrics
you
in
brought out,
English.
you brought the Spanish game. You brought the Spanish game.
Yeah,
on
we
it?
gave her some corridos tumbados.
Yeah.
We gave her, she's like, yo, what does this mean? I was like, I'm just gonna have him write out every single lyric, write the lyrics in English so you can translate it and you can try to get a better understanding of what he's talking about.
I'm sure she figured it out, bro. You know,
we try to. The best thing to do in those situations is try to make it as easy for the person as possible.
Right.
I knew her time was precious. I knew that I was asking for a favor, and I did my best to try to accommodate her in that particular situation. Because again, I don't know how sharp your Spanish is, but I barely understand half the shit that comes out of those guys' mouths. So
I mean, bro, their Spanish is like straight,
it's different.
Straight Mexico.
Yeah.
Spanish.
It's a different kind that's traditional.
Living in the States, we get like the washed down Spanish a little bit.
It's
even
my
Spanish,
Americanized traditional Spanish, and that shit was not that. But shout out to him and
no, for
thank
sure.
you so much for helping us in that.
And I think that's actually a really funny like kind of point in my life, because that was where I was like, I made that decision of like, I want to move more into marketing and I want to do this more often. And that was the project that I was like, okay, how can we take this and like, what can we do with this?
It was like a lot of polishing and highlighting, and that's what you like excelled in so much since then is what I'm like. That's why I said that I gave you like the 24 months, because that was probably, almost 2 years ago.
Crazy.
And then like fast tracking it to where you are now. We were talking about the Def Jam thing, and we got to the OVO thing. I didn't want to cut you off earlier, but I wanted to touch on the Def Jam shit. And then now you did all that. You hit all those accolades, all those milestones, and then you just recently tapped into the OVO thing, which is, I'm a huge OVO guy, so it's admirable.
Shout out OVO, baby.
I saw Tyler Sutherman at the concert. He was front row posting that shit. I was like, damn, bro, those are good ass seats. And I look at Lauren's story. She's backstage next to Drake. I'm like, what the fuck? My bad, Ty. Your shit's whack, dog.
Can't buy those tickets, bro.
Oh man.
No. Your work. It's TV Gucci, yes.
TV Gucci, yeah.
You work with from the OVO fam with TV Gucci and Smiley, or
I've done a cover for Smiley.
Yeah. Smiley's dope. I fucking love Smiley.
Love
that whole crew's pretty dope. Yeah. I guess because it's versatile. It's a little bit of everything,
Yeah.
And that's the thing is like Smiley will have his moment. Like it's coming for him.
Soon comes.
Totally. But yeah, this has been kind of a couple years in the making. I did TV Gucci's rollout for Bora Bora, the music video that Drake directed.
That was a dope song.
I'm glad you like it. Yes. It's a great song.
Even the rollout too. You did all the shit that came on the front.
Everything.
Yes.
That shit's crazy. God damn.
So we had this song, and I worked super closely with his management, named Sherlock, and he was like, the boy wants to direct a music video. We're going to put this out, what can we do marketing wise? So from there, just kind of like him and I worked hand in hand and like, what makes sense? What can we do? We ended up doing a TikTok challenge. We did
on Bro.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A TikTok challenge. We did a billboard in Times Square. And then
your shit was on Billboard in Times Square?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Shout out. That shit's fucking hard.
Was that my first Times Square billboard?
Even if it wasn't, but
yeah,
like, how does that
how many
feel?
do I
have? Doing numbers.
I don't know now.
I have 2 now.
That gives me the fucking chills. You're on fucking Times Square, bro. Like you get thousands of motherfucking viewers in a second. Like
that was my goal. Like that was written on my my
board for sure.
Yeah, I was like, I want my work in Times Square. So having that, and I did the kind of like the script for Bora Bora. Like Bora Bora written out, and then if you go on his page, it's like it's what's up and pinned on his Instagram. But
that's fucking sick.
I mean, that rollout was just like, it was just perfect. Like it did exactly what it needed to do. That song is at like 1 million streams now. He's an independent artist. Like he's killing it. Like I'm so proud of him. But more recently, we're moving more into this almost like just PR and still helping with creative. So when he was out here, we went to YouTube and I took him to a Sony 360 room, which is like it's like an immersive sound experience. So he got to hear his music in immersive, like mixed
state of the
different
art
audio, fucking
and
you'll hear
like,
all the fucking lisps
crazy.
and fucking
the most highest of clarities.
It's insane.
Known to man. Yeah.
Yeah, it's insane. It was one of those things that he was like, oh, like this is new. Like, and I really wanted to have that that moment for him because he will be like, you know, one of the leading people in his group to do something like that. And I like,
very, very high stakes crew to be involved in.
Totally.
You know, you have like Drake is the pinnacle.
Yeah.
And then it's like, not necessarily saying that you have to compete with that, but the bar is set pretty fucking high.
You got to compete with that fucking shit.
The bar is set high. And
that's the thing.
The crew has a lot of good guys. I like P. Rain.
No, for sure.
I like Party. The other guys, I mean.
PND.
I don't know if Majid's still there, but those, I like a lot of those guys.
Jordan and them still in there?
They might be. I'm not so sure.
No? I don't
have
know.
to dive into that a little bit more.
I wanted to touch on earlier you were saying, you know, like with Def Jam and stuff, what I got from that was with kind of the lady that kind of brought you in and has like brought you under her wing, so to speak. You're not just an order taker. You actually come up with creatives and like, hey, what if we did this? And they're like, actually, cool. Yeah, that
might work. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that, and then also get into, like we were talking off camera a little bit, being a female in this industry and touch on those points.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I think one of the projects like that specifically comes to mind when you say that is she had me design what the plaques would look like for the Donda Deluxe album. So there's
shout to Ye.
So there's obviously, you know, you get when you sell X amount of records, you get, you know, a plaque that is how much it has
streams,
sold. Yeah, exactly.
An accomplishment plaque.
Exactly. So she was like, you know, I don't know, you know, she's like, just go, just create something.
Yeah.
So I actually, I found a photo of Kanye and his mom online and took kind of like the side profile of what that was and made it so that some of the like etching within the plaque had this side profile of his mom.
That's fire.
And this is like Donda, like
Easy.
it was dope. And I showed her everything and told her, and she was like, oh wow, that's sick.
So she kind of gave you like free reign.
Totally, yeah. She gave me free reign and like came up with a couple concepts. That was I don't think that ever came out. It's very like, you know, working with an incredible creative like Kanye.
Yeah, that's seen all over the world.
It's hard to, you know, get things
to that standard,
passed.
Yeah.
So especially in a label situation.
Sure.
But then I did billboards for the Donda Deluxe as well. So came up with a bunch of concepts for the billboards that are gonna go, you know, on LED trucks or on, you know, wherever they were gonna put them. So she gave me free reign to do that. She's like, just
do you.
So me knowing art and like studying and seeing what, you know, he was doing at that point,
visually wise, could,
you know, put together. It was a lot of just like light, a lot of clouds, a lot of textures. For the plaque for him, it was a lot of he was in this place where he was doing like a lot of mountains and like he was really into mountains, and there was a specific movie that he referenced a lot. I forget the name of it. I think it was called something. It had something about a mountain.
I'm not gonna say that mountain movie that we.
Back Mountain.
Yeah, I'm not talking about.
Wow.
I didn't want to say
You
it.
just watched it or what?
My favorite movie.
Brokeback Boys over there.
Wow. Okay.
No. I'm just fucking.
Unbelievable.
He was really into mountains at this point in his career. So making that outline of his mom like into a mountain shape, just things like that like tie into everything that
his mother,
right,
which was the name of the album,
his mother, but then also what he was into at that point.
Yeah. So he put it as a cover. Was that the cover of Ye was the mountainside in like Wyoming or something?
That was I don't remember the name of that.
I just remember he was like really deep in the Wyoming
Super
thing.
How do people like you and like even creatives like that, like Kanye West, stuff like that, like how the fuck do you guys come up with some of these ideas? You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy, bro. Like, are you like, I don't
just
fucking
an
know.
artistic
I don't
gift.
know.
Like,
I don't
dude,
know.
you
It's
gotta
an
be
artistic
fucking- I
gift.
don't
Some
know, bro.
people just have a keen sense of artistry
I
that
respect that.
you
a
just
lot, bro.
cannot
Yeah.
buy it. You
Yeah.
can't. A
got
lot of
that
people have
instinct.
skills.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just some of them are skill based, and some of them are just natural artistry that just gets dispersed into projects, and they just
Right.
feel it. And I'm pretty confident that's probably what you came with.
Totally.
You started pulling a bunch of ideas, and conceptually, you saw one thing in your head, and then taking it from here to illustrate it on
Yep.
paper or something that's visual. I
Right.
mean, that's crazy.
And it's also like one thing I've learned is just not being so attached to like a reference photo, like letting things just happen, like letting yourself just be in this creative space where you're like, I'll have a feeling when I know that it's done. Like I just feel like I almost feel like I've seen it before. Like that's what I feel like
That's crazy.
when I know that it's done.
It's like
Yeah.
a registered complete type of situation.
Exactly. So there was this I've done 2 pieces of artwork that I painted for Def Jam for 2 different artists, like actually like painted. And from there I like took it and put actual like digital things that kind of represented what the album was about or how I saw the artist. So it was one of those things that like they gave me the reference of George Kondo, who's like this insane artist. He's done work for Kanye and just he's an incredible just like traditional artist. And they're like, this is the inspo, like
Sheesh.
go ahead. And I'm
Match it.
yeah, pretty much. And I was like, okay, like I'll see what I could do. But that's where I got really creative, and I started to use my scanner, like my printer, a lot. So I would like paint something, like I'd paint a background, and then I'd scan it, and it'd be digital. Okay, cool, perfect. And then from there, like I found a photo that I liked of him, and his name is Marcus Clay.
Yeah.
Found a photo that I liked of him, and drew the photo and like painted it, and it wasn't perfect. Like there was you could tell that it was kind of like this unfinished vibe, but it was dope. Like I thought, I was like, this is sick. I can kind of see the paper in the background. And then from there put on like a wolf mouth and different eyes, and
Oh,
and
I
I
saw
had
that one. The one that's all
Yeah.
propped
Yeah.
up, different pieces.
Yeah,
Yeah,
mhm.
that was dope.
thank you.
So
But
you were scanning all that and then uploading it
Yeah.
into your was it Adobe,
I do that a lot.
and you just layer it.
Damn.
Bro, it's
That's
like when you
crazy.
go in and
That's
cut like different
crazy.
like eyes from a magazine, then like something
Right.
lips from a
Yeah.
different piece, and like you put it all into
It's
right.
like a-
That's
Right,
what it was.
pretty much, yeah.
Essentially, yeah.
It's a lot of blending. So there's a piece of artwork that's coming out soon through Def Jam for a huge artist. But I did the same thing. I would scan it, and I scanned a bunch of diamonds. I scanned a bunch of I scanned a bracelet that was kind of like had reflective qualities to it. I scanned a glass, like an actual like glass bowl,
Oh, both.
and just the way, and I put like reflective paper on top of it, and just the way that it kind of like
Illuminated.
yeah, it was like, oh, this is cool. But it's a lot of just like fucking around. Like
Yeah.
it's just a lot of like trial and error. Like I'm upstairs in my place just like
Get
blasting music
creative.
and just like
Getting
Having a
nutty.
glass of wine,
Scanning
so
Get
you're
nutty.
fucking scanning everything, huh?
That's the shit I'm telling you
What- oh,
about.
let me grab
That
this-
kind of shit, you can't buy that. That's
Right.
not something you can
He's
get,
over
bro.
here,
That's something that just comes with
Let me
you.
grab my
and-
fucking bowl from the kitchen real quick and
that's
scan this
exactly
shit.
yeah. I was like I went to Michael's before I did all of this, and I was like that looks like it could be cool, like to scan. I was like, and it's just like I don't know. I really don't know. But I think it's just this like
Your method is your method. And
Right.
it'd be so hard to like articulate the method to
Right.
your madness.
totally. I think it's and I kind of felt this when I was working on the billboards for Kanye. It's just this like you just feel it's like what would this artist like? Like what would be like, oh wow, I really connect with
That's
that.
hard because I feel like sometimes they don't even know what the fuck they
Right.
like. You know what I'm saying?
And a lot of times
you're trying
they
to get
don't.
ahead of,
Exactly.
of what the fuck they're thinking.
Exactly.
You know?
But it's also that's where it comes into play of like, okay, so if this is an album about, his mom, what is something that we can include that, obviously this is something very cathartic to him and means a lot. How can we incorporate that in every touch point? Like what can we do to do that? So it really is like, and I felt that was the first time I really felt it and like really understood what that felt like. but just tapping into this like way higher level of thinking in terms of just creativity, like looking at things in different ways. Like there's things like something like that, or like
Right,
you know,
yeah.
a paint, anything. Like it's so you can look at things and see them differently. So it's so hard to like
Yeah.
articulate
telling
and
you,
talk
it's
about.
You can't
Yeah,
articulate
I
it.
can't.
Your work speaks for itself.
As far as like the way that you put everything together at Donda and then being in the position that you were in, as far as like the influence that a woman has in certain, I don't want to say fields because it's such a like diverse space. Being a woman in power in the position you're in, what would you say is probably the biggest thing that you've had to like overcome being a woman in that business and having to deal with the politics? I don't want to get too far into the politics,
Yeah.
but you know, just in your experience, what do you feel like you had to like overcome?
I think the biggest thing, and this is something that is still kind of I'm working on currently, is to understand the things that make me a woman are what make my work relationships also special.
Fire.
So I'm not, you know,
It goes hand in hand.
totally.
Right,
It goes hand in hand to be a woman and feel things so deeply and be empathetic, but then, you know, be able to, you know, feel things with an artist and be able to, you know, create a whole brand around that. I think for a long time, and it wasn't anything that was like a huge issue for
Challenging.
me. It wasn't anything that was like hard. But I think that, you know, as you enter into such a male dominated industry, you almost like feel like you have to like be like a guy, and like you don't have to do that. I think that's one of the things that like, and it wasn't I was trying to like be a guy, but I was trying to like, you know,
Fit in a little bit, or
more so like
Tap into
not
something
be as
that's-
emotional as like I know that I actually am.
as women are, right?
As women
Yeah.
are. And I think that that's something that like, and that's something that like relationship wise, like within work, like, and it's not emotional in the sense of like, you know, like being like crying. It's like, it's just really understanding like your strengths. I am an emotional human. Like
Well,
I will
you're
always
a
be that way.
human.
Right.
That's just normal.
And it's not emotional in the sense of like I said, crying or, you know, being upset all the time. I'm
Like
just
train
I
of
feel,
thought, decision making.
right. I feel things deeply, and I can really
Passionate.
exactly, and I can really tap into like what other artists feel when they, you know, sing a song, or, you know, just understanding, like comprehending what artists are trying to portray on a different level. So I think that, you know, as a woman, understanding the things that make you special as a woman,
For sure.
and that is, you know, this empathy, compassion,
The intuition is crazy.
all of
Yes.
that. Yeah, for sure. Intuition, those things that, you know, and there are men out there that, you know, have these same traits, but I think as a woman it comes easier to us because this is just
No, for
how our
sure.
DNA is.
It's different. It's
Right.
different.
Mother-
Like he
Mother
said,
Nature, yeah.
it's the intuition.
Right.
Women have, you
That
know,
factor.
we won't go into this, but like in personal situations, you know, women, they can have a gut feeling.
They got
Totally.
And
intuitive.
they're not going to be
100%.
wrong.
So intuitive.
Right.
It's insane.
You know,
100%.
And you could have no idea on the surface, but women just get this feeling. So
Right.
going to what you were saying, like in your
This is the
creative work,
Mama's Boys podcast, by the way.
I'm
Everyone.
I'm a
but-
motherfucking mama's boy. I love
Hey,
my mom.
this is the
Mama,
Mama's
I love
Boys
you.
podcast.
Mommy, I love you. Hey,
So-
shout out the moms,
I
man.
love
Yeah.
this mommy.
Shout out the
moms.
moms.
I love your mom too, bro. Shut the fuck up.
We love the women. I'm talking about me. I'm a
I
Mama's
love your
boy
mom
too.
too.
Yeah, well, you know, that's a Mama's Boys
But
podcast. We love the
seriously,
women
like,
over here.
Women have that in them, and
Right.
so what you were just saying, I think that it does bring a different perspective, especially in what you do on the creative side,
Right.
and you're working with these artists, and they might be going through whether it's a negative experience in terms of, you know, someone passing away
Yep.
or whatever the case is, or in a positive sense, you can put your woman touch on that
Right.
and help it portray differently than maybe a male would.
Totally.
Right.
Absolutely. And like I said, like I think that there's things that just biologically, like men and women will always complement each other.
But compatible
Yes.
by nature.
You need one of each other. You need one of each other.
100%. And that goes for any situation, work, relationship, like, and these are things that I'm, like I said, just still learning and applying to my life. But just understanding like your specific strengths, the things that God bestowed on you, like how do you use that effectively? And I think that it is, you know, I'm just so in touch with my emotions and understanding all of that kind of stuff. So
I love that, because at the end of the day, no matter what, you're gonna do you.
right.
Whether you could feel however you feel, but the fact that you're so like emotionally grounded,
Right.
and you understand that you can't let your emotions get in the way of your professionalism is what essentially makes you who you are and why you are as successful as you are. And you're going to continue to be successful because you have a vision that, just as we touched on in the past, I'm trying to clarify that her method to her madness is just, it's so hard to articulate this stuff because it's here and
Yeah.
it's hard to like
Put it
express
out,
it
yeah.
verbally,
It's a
but
feeling.
her feelings get expressed
Right.
in the illustrations
work.
that she
Right.
puts together, and it's just dope.
I
I can't do
That's-
it.
Yeah.
I can't do it personally, so whenever
I
I
for
see
sure
someone
can't
else do it, I'm like, bruh, how the fuck did you? I can't even turn my computer on right. So
That's the thing though.
Control Alt Delete.
yeah, those I know.
It's actually crazy because a lot, like everything that is feeling based happens in your limbic brain, and your limbic brain literally has no room for speech or like or just like understanding how to articulate things. It's all literally a part of your brain that does not even understand how to speak.
I'm just looking at her eyes move. I'm like, God damn, bro.
She talked about a
She's
part of, I was
working
like,
in
yo,
there.
I know what part of the brain you're talking about, but I never knew I had a
Bro,
name,
she's
yo.
working, bro.
The
She's
limbic
going.
brain.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
the limbic brain.
Olympic, not Olympic.
Limbic.
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 I
With
don't
a
know
B?
exact word. I'm not a fucking
Limbic
doctor,
brain.
but I respect it. I love it, man.
My limbic
100%,
brain's going
man.
OT right now.
Yeah.
Smoking.
So what advice do you give someone trying to get into your industry? And like, well, I mean, it's hard to say your industry because like you've done a couple of little different things and you know now where you're at, but what advice do you give to just someone coming up and trying to be a creative like you?
I think it's crazy because like being in this industry, we could literally do a million of these podcasts,
Right.
like a couple of them, and could touch on different things that my company does or offers or things that, you know, I've worked on. It's so many things, but I think the biggest thing that I've learned within this is like being okay with doing things for free in the beginning. And not necessarily for free, but like building your portfolio. I'm seeing a lot of creatives reach out to me and say, you know, how do I get paid to do this? Like, how do I?
It's all financial at that point.
But
But that's what the like an internship was created
Exactly.
for that. So you get the
Exactly.
experience,
Mhm.
you get the hours, you get the
Right.
knowledge, and then you can apply that to your resume when it's time for people. When you
Exactly.
go out to actually search for a gig, you could be like, yo, I did this. This is what it says on my portfolio.
Right.
But I also dedicated 100 hours doing this. and
Exactly.
in that time, I learned, you know, this. And honestly, like, it's just, like you said, we had said earlier, there's so many aspects to what you actually do that it's hard to just identify one and kind of specify what
Right.
you do for one thing.
Right.
It's multiple things that are, you need to be good at photography because you have to capture the image. And
Right.
you have to know what lenses and XYZ. You have to be able to shoot properly to know what
Angles.
the lenses
And
that you use.
that's why I feel like your downfalls have built you to who you are now.
Oh, totally.
You know what I mean?
100%.
Because like I don't want
It's
to
the
say
beauty
you
and the
failed in
struggle.
these things, but like you didn't want to pursue them anymore. So
Right.
you want to do the beauty stuff, and it's like you get the eye for like a good looking person.
Right.
Then you went to the photography. You got to do that. You got over it, and you got to understand like the photography, the product placement, this and
Right.
that, right?
Mhm.
And then you move into more of the product management stuff now, where the rollouts and stuff like that, where it's
Right.
like more onto all of that plus what you're trying to do now.
Exactly.
So it's all built.
It's crazy how it all
Incorporates.
has been a part of like where I'm at today. And it's funny because even like I might work with the people that owned the the salon that I worked at, like my very first,
No
like
shit.
my first people, like they were like, we need help with marketing, like so
Comes full circle.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's so funny. But I think that I really genuinely believe that God like has this path for everybody.
Yeah, the
and
plan
this
is real.
Exactly how it was supposed to happen. I think that everything that has happened along the way that may not have like been exactly what I wanted it to be, like the outcome, it always turned into something different. And to bring it back to your question, like there was a lot of things that I did for free in the beginning. There was a lot of shoots that I did, like I was like, oh my gosh, like am I ever gonna get paid for this? Like but it's one of those things that like you have to continue, you have to keep doing it. And then from there you meet someone at this listening party and then they're like, yeah, we need that. And it's consistently, you know, bringing value to people. And I think that's something that like is a lost art. And you know, you're not going to get into something and just be an expert and get paid right off the bat. Like,
So, but you probably built a lot of those relationships to be in those rooms based on your work. So you do something for free here. They invite you to a party over here. At the party, you meet somebody who's like, oh, yo, you do
100%.
video content? Well, shit, I got something that I'm working on right now.
Exactly.
I'm going to send it to you. Do you get something with it? And then, boom, you got a fucking job.
It's crazy because even from that, like,
for opportunity.
I knew, you know, someone from Def Jam that works in radio, and I knew him from shooting and, you know, being around, and he knows me from being a photographer. Sure. And I was able to, you know, I have that relationship that we've cultivated and have run into him, you know, however many times. And I'm like, I'm able to be like, hey, I actually am doing a lot more, you know, helping with setting up meetings for, to see if there's label situations or,
so like full blown AR in the sport.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing is like, it's, I don't know what
Could that be a goal? Is that something that you foresee?
A&Ring? I mean, I don't know. Listen,
it sounds like you kind of already doing
bro,
it.
It really does.
Plug the pieces.
You're on the management side of it with like the presentation.
Exactly,
so what's the difference about you joining into the fucking production side of shit and doing A&R where you're actually listening to stuff and stuff like that?
That's the thing though.
Because you got the visual, but like, would you ever hop into the fucking like audio side of shit?
So there's an artist that I'm working with right now that I'm his head of operations.
We're gonna keep it on quiet.
His name is Aryan Shah. He's an independent
artist.
artist.
I know him.
He's an independent artist.
He's dope.
He's fucking incredible.
He's a Middle Eastern dude.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's incredible. This has
beautiful voice.
This has been my baby. Like this is like I am so excited for the next 5 years of his career because I know he's going to fucking blow. He's completely independent. He streams. Renegade's about to hit 150 million streams.
He had the mask.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember him.
Yep.
I remember him early on, like
that's crazy.
Like years ago. I knew a dude who did some writing for him on his first project when he was first coming up.
Dope.
So that he put me on to him. So I kind of always watched from a distance. Yeah. But yeah,
I'm working extremely closely with him. And so 150 million streams on one of the songs.
Crazy.
Independent.
Lovely.
He does 3 million monthly listeners like every month.
He's a rough motherfucker, huh?
I mean, and the thing with him is like he is just so appreciative and like humble, and he's like I just feel blessed to be doing this. Like I feel lucky to be doing this. He's every
happy
day
to be in this position.
Totally.
Yeah.
And he sees
not,
it.
It's a niche market because what nationality is he?
He's Indian.
He's Indian. So how
That's
many
tough,
Indian
bro.
artists do we know that are out here?
That can break through into like some shit like this.
Bro, India probably has an insane population. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
He gets which he will be, when he gets to that plateau and he taps into that market and he has all of those people listening to him he's gonna kill.
Oh, and he already does. Like he has his India just really loves and supports him.
Of course. That's their guy right now, I imagine.
Right. So he's just announced we're doing a show December 10th.
Amazing.
And he had his very first LA show at Moroccan Lounge.
Oof. We gotta be there.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm pulling up. Shit, I'm pulling with my hoochie daddy shorts on,
Let's
baby.
go.
You know what I'm saying?
You might have to drop those down a little bit. There's a lot of thigh
I'm gonna
going
pull
on
them up a
there.
little more. You know
Drop
what I'm
them down a
saying?
little bit.
Hell no.
But there's, you know, we're hearing all this crazy shit about how artists can't sell tours anymore. And this artist has, you know, thousands of people literally waiting for him to drop tickets. So it's just this like you know, it's no shade on anyone else, but it's when you build this brand, and it goes back to
core,
all the
core
creatives,
fans,
when you build
those
this
diehard
brand
people,
that people can attach themselves to, when you are so in tune with your emotions and what you're trying to convey, and
you make yourself really relatable being vulnerable.
totally.
And a lot of his music is like he's very
It's like
vulnerable.
that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it makes you very relatable again. Like people like to
Too many people
feel
faking the funk, bro. So when you get
I mean,
genuine
it's a
artists
very
like that,
saturated market. There's a lot of artists doing a lot of the same shit, but a lot of them, you just being personable, being relatable. I just like to use the word vulnerable because I feel like the biggest rapper in the world, Drake, has allowed himself to be vulnerable and relatable, and which is why maybe not the toughest dudes in the room, maybe not all the gangsters and the trappers fuck with him, but how many of us are gangsters? Out of 10 dudes, those are 2 guys. The other 8 guys were like, yeah, that shit's fire. Yeah, I want to love my mom. Yeah, I want to love a girl. Yeah, I felt like a fucking bitch one time because I cried. Whatever the case may be. But fuck it.
I never felt like no bitch, bro. What are you talking about?
Exactly. And the tough guy in the room was like, I ain't no bitch. You know what I mean? But like, bro, come on. We've all been there. You get to the point that you feel closer to these artists, and those are the guys that buy your CDs. Those are the ones that buy the tickets for the shows. Those are the guys that buy your merch. They allow you to continue to keep working independently, which is independent is house money. It ain't nobody else's money. So he's using his money to work, and that's
do everything and
fire.
And that is like to have the, you know, monthly listeners to have, and this is all just numbers, but this is, you know, how we can track in the music industry.
That's
success.
The charts are what people go based off.
Is what we can base things off of. But just what has been built over the past couple years, and how he's been able to, you know, take just things that he's going through in life and just be able to, you know, cultivate this whole company around it is incredible. So it just goes to show.
And you're a part of that.
Yes.
That's the best part about it.
It's amazing. But it goes to show that like real, authentic vulnerability, people still, you know, want to hear that. People
they fuck with it.
Yeah.
In any way, and that could be, you know, in any situation, in anything like that. It just vulnerability, being vulnerable with people, making people feel something. That's what we're all here for.
Exactly.
So pretty soon, Lauren's gonna stop answering our fucking phone calls, guys.
Shut up.
Like,
You're ridiculous.
Oh, Cap!
I'm pulling up to it. If I get left on red, I'm gonna be spiteful.
Oh, Tyler, never heard of him.
I'm spiteful.
I'm just the white boy on the fucking wall.
She's the homie, so it's so much easier to do stuff like this when you kind of know a person and you relate to them because you've already kind of seen their growth.
Right.
I met you through Ty at a beach party 3-4 years ago or some wild shit, and then
good times.
We became cool, and then we did business together, and then I get to sit in the cut and watch you succeed. It's a beautiful thing, man. Just
thank you.
It's the struggle. I didn't know about the other stuff prior to that, you know, about your career change and all those things. I didn't really know too much about that. But looking back at it now, I'm like, at the time, she probably felt terrible about
gosh,
it.
crazy.
Dog,
it might have felt like
you're
devastating
about,
shit,
crazy shit, and
then you gotta explain it to your parents. I'm sure beauty was cosmetology school.
Yeah.
I know that shit ain't cheap. So I'm not sure
yeah,
if you
my dad
paid
was
for it. Oh yeah,
upset about that.
Your dad paid for it.
I mean,
well,
it doesn't matter.
Buy him a car.
But
You'll forget
my
all about
biggest
that
thing
shit.
is like, if I can start from scratch, I wouldn't change shit, and I always love keeping that shit.
That's
but
the
like,
fucking game
is
bar
there
for
anything that you think you would have done differently?
And we're not talking about your dating life either.
Hey man, you got you got us 3 to deal with, right? Fuck you guys. Who is it? Yeah. But honestly, do you feel like if you know you've done it all, you know, all around, would you have changed anything, done something a little differently, and maybe approach certain situations a little differently? Or did you just like, you know what?
Question.
Everything I did, it happened the way it did, and I'm happy with it.
I mean,
you
yeah,
know?
I think I will forever be like learning. I'll forever be evolving. Like even this, you know, past month, there's situations that I'm like, oh, okay, I see what I could have done better in that, and I will apply that to, you know, the next
time around.
It's, you know, and it's one of those things that I'm learning that like as you cast a wider net when you're doing business, like things aren't going to always go as perfect as, you know, you you hope them to. You know, I always have amazing intentions for the people, the artists, the companies that I work with, but you know, you're not gonna, you know, hit 100% every single time. So it's like, how are you growing from that? I feel like, you know, me as like owning a business, like there's a lot of things that I, you know, need to do better within that. Like, you know, being more open to people helping and,
Sure.
you know, and there are people that, you know, I outsource things to and
Delegate responsibilities.
Absolutely.
That's the entrepreneur boss kicking
Exactly.
in.
That's
that
how you really
developed
make it to the top.
And
It's
that's-
learning to
1000%.
trust
Right.
people and like do certain jobs for you, delegating responsibilities, and knowing to like, you know what, you're not gonna be able to do fucking a million things a fucking day.
And I think, and that's
know?
the thing is, I think that I can, and like that's where I'm like,
It's overwhelming.
I'm like,
bro.
oh, I
That's
actually
why
am
you
not
were telling me I
sleeping.
haven't slept
I haven't
4
slept.
motherfucking hours.
Right.
That's crazy.
I've
That's
slept for
insane.
4 hours all week, so
I'll
I
be
think
an angry motherfucker. I sleep 4 hours.
I would not have
Same.
came, bro. I'm like,
I'd
hey,
be
Ivan,
so mean.
fuck you, bro.
Been
I'm
like,
out.
fuck this podcast.
I
I'm
slept
out.
like
No.
12. Yesterday was my birthday. I got drunk, and then I had to make sure that Lauren was gonna confirm because I was hurting this
Here we go.
morning. I hydrated all morning.
She did. Props.
Oh.
She came through. So I know that feeling of being like, it's like what happens when you don't get sleepy. I get hangry
Yeah.
if I don't eat. So like if I don't get
There's no
sleep, I'm mean
Yeah.
and I'm a grouch. So
right.
I can only imagine
Crazy.
being on 4 hours of sleep
Yeah,
every
but
day.
would you have done anything different on your come up, or just
I-
kept it the same?
Well, to bring it back to that,
Yeah.
I think that that's one of the things that I'm currently like working through is just the people that are around and wanting to help. Because that's the biggest thing for me is like I've had such incredible mentors. Like I've had fucking incredible mentors that have
Dope ass
really
people that really,
really
yeah.
poured into me, really like
I love
put me
them,
on
man.
game.
Shout out to them. Yeah,
It's incredible, and they changed my life. Charlene being one of them. I'm
Shout
like
out to Charlene.
I always
I love
feel
Charlene.
like
I want to meet you someday,
I haven't
Charlene.
met her,
hit
but
us
she
up.
sounds
Charlene,
lovely.
I'm gonna give you a hug when I see you.
oh, she's
God,
incredible.
yeah.
But I feel like I have an obligation to also do that to the people that I bring underneath me. And I feel like that it in itself just requires a different level of like attention and dedication. And I really want to pour into people like other people have done to me. So it's that balance of like, you know, let people help and let people take things on and so you can actually sleep and like, you know, grocery shop and
Do regular
finish
shit.
my IKEA desk
So you
that's
feel
up
like
top.
It sounds like from what you're saying, you would have delegated stuff a little bit sooner
Exactly, yeah.
if you had to change something.
And I think that, you know, it's never a bad thing. I think that I always wanted to own a company that I know exactly the ins and outs of how it works.
Start from the ground up.
And that's the thing,
exactly.
because when you grow a company, bro, that's your baby.
It's
so
your
you're not
baby.
gonna let no one else fuck it up.
hard
You know
to
what I'm saying?
delegate.
It's
Yeah.
hard, especially in an industry like we were saying earlier that is predicated on trust and
Mhm.
relationships, and it's also difficult because, you know, people want me on set because it's me and not I can't really like relay that to anywhere else. So I think you know, admin wise or, you know, things like that are things that I could, you know, definitely
Tedious
delegate.
shit.
Yeah, those are the things that I can delegate a little better. But you know, I'm still learning. I'm still in my
Still
20s,
young.
Process,
Yeah,
baby.
still young,
It's all
still
a
getting it,
process.
still hungry.
Exactly.
And
So-
I get the
Hey.
fucking chills just like knowing her, but like I feel like I don't even want to ask this question, but like, what's the future of fucking low fucking, you know what I'm saying? Because you already got a lot of dope shit on your fucking plate.
Yeah,
But like, where do you
for
see
sure.
yourself in the next? I don't even want to say 10 years, but like even fucking 2 years or next year.
Short term
you know what I'm
goals,
saying? Yeah.
long term goals.
There's
Let's
a
do
lot.
short term.
There's a lot. There's a lot.
short-term goals, I want to
Aside from kicking ass on the one that you can't talk about.
that's the one I'm exactly
Yeah.
that's the one I'm thinking of right now.
Oh shit.
Be on the lookout. Be on the lookout.
Another Times Square, baby.
Coming
Definitely.
soon.
I think short-term goals is being the lead on a rollout that is one of the ones that, you know, everyone talks about. Long-term goals is being the go-to company that all of these labels,
Capiche.
all of these labels, all of these
Capiche?
artists use, but then also like really helping. I think something that I'm, you know, getting more passionate about is helping these independent artists get to the next level in their career too.
Yeah.
'Cause I think
Developing
that
their media side.
developing all
It's
of
the
that
hardest
kind
side,
of stuff.
honestly.
It's really difficult, and I think that
It's struggle. I feel like a lot of independent people struggle with that particular thing.
and I'm seeing it, and I think that there's a lot that I can
Offer?
pour into in that situation. So
Mhm.
that's one of the things as well, like long-term goals, is to try to set something up. I don't know if that's like a class, or I don't know what that looks like.
Well, you're already doing it. I feel like you got mentored by great people who
Mhm.
wanted to see you succeed and watch you develop. And now you're planting that seed into the next generation of people that you're going to mentor.
Totally.
And then your business will eventually develop a lot of people with your characteristics that
Right.
are poured into them. And then you let them develop into who they are with the best aspects of you in that. And
Right.
then you got a whole elite all-star
Yes.
team of killers in that
100%.
industry. And we need more.
Straight
I already
up.
know, like I want my company to be like one of the top marketing companies.
me get a job.
And it
in
will.
music.
It will.
Hire
I
me.
mean,
Hire me.
Hi, man. Yeah.
hey,
You're moving
it-
away.
I got a couple hours in
Hey,
me.
you'll,
too.
you'll
I need
be,
a job.
you'll visit. But I mean, hey, this is why we like and love people like you on. Not only a friend, but you have that grit, you have that hustle. You know, again, you have that 25/8, and
Totally.
you are also not only in yourself, but what you've said tonight, you've poured that into people and artists that you've worked with.
Right.
Right. And so it's all about trials, tribulations, but also the positive and
Right.
the excellent times, and you embrace all of it.
Yeah,
Right.
Good in the
Absolutely.
bed.
And so we thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you.
I don't know, boys, you got anything else to add?
I just want to say
Any
I
last-
love Lauren, dog.
I'm
Aw,
happy to
that's
have her
As
good.
far
here.
as
Thank you.
questions, I think we probably covered everything across the book. I mean, maybe not everything.
Shit, we'll
but
probably have her on again.
I can sit
We'll
here
have
with
her
her
on
for like
again.
another
There's a
3
lot of
hours
shit.
to
I
top it
know.
up.
Yeah.
But
And that's the thing is like there's just so much. Like I obviously we focus very much so on creative and like
yeah,
I
didn't want to get
so
too.
much,
I didn't
like,
want to get
so
into your
much.
personal stuff too much.
No,
I
we
held
don't-
back
we
a little
don't-
bit.
We ain't gotta get into
We
personal
debriefed
stuff.
a little bit before.
Yes.
So I had to hold
So,
my
Turn
tongue.
the
again.
cameras
who
off
you
first.
dating? Who you dating? Yeah.
I strike again. I
And
had to
that
hold
is
my
a
tongue a little
wrap.
bit.
Thank you
But-
so much for having me.
Yeah. Hey.
We appreciate you, love.
She said it. That's a wrap.
Lo
That's a
Enriquez,
wrap,
baby.
baby.
Capiche LA.
Yes.
Lauren Enriquez, Capiche LA. Catch her on Instagram. You guys are seeing this shit on Times Square, so I ain't even gotta fucking put up the ads. You know what I mean?
She'll be
her,
in
her work speaks for itself. You seen that shit on
rollout
fucking
near
the
you.
Kanye, the OVO shit, the bunch of the DMX and fucking all the other guys and stuff. So
we could probably
you
name
guys have
drop
seen
for
her
the rest
stuff,
of the
man.
night.
Yeah, I don't gotta put her out.
Look out for the new shit. Like you
What's
said,
coming?
you got
Yeah.
the new in the
Maybe
works.
by the
There's
time
new
this
stuff
comes out,
coming.
we'll be able to
Hopefully.
double double promote that.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that.
Man,
Love
I don't
it.
know, but
But
I had a good
again,
time. I
thank
had a
you.
good time.
We
Yeah,
love you.
Cap
We appreciate
Angels.
it.
Love you.
I love you, big dog.
Thank you guys.
Lolo,
The
I
dog
love you,
Cap.
mommy.
Lolo, we love
Dog,
you.
I love you, doggy.
Love you guys.
Let 'em roll. 25A, baby.
We out.